Welcome back. And to continue, Curtis, if I look at your portfolio today, you've got the offshore assets in the Gulf of Mexico. You have the oil play in Lee County. You also now have the Alaskan oil/gas play. Do you have the people to do this?
We have been focused on opportunity, and one of the things that we've been sensitized to is we need some people to help us recognize that opportunity. So we've brought in Andy Reich on the operations side. Andy's an ex-Schlumberger guy, has a long history of doing innovative drilling in both land and offshore situations. So Andy's going to be a good add. We've also brought in Gary Reinhardt as our exploration manager. Gary has international Gulf of Mexico and land expertise, and has been doing a great job for us on the Lee work.
Well, and let's not forget the Alaska team.
The Alaska guys have been added as a result of our purchase of Steller and the Steller asset base, and we're very excited about them because they not only are knowledgeable of the Alaskan operation, as I might add is Andy. Andy spent some time in Alaska, so that's a good mix. But they also have a good rapport and working relationship with all of the regulatory state senators, the governor, and the other people in Alaska. So we think that gives us a real inside track in Alaska.
When we started Pompano, the natural gas price was $10. Now it's roughly between $4 and $5, whereas oil had been as low as $32 and now has jumped up to $80 a barrel. I also noticed that Pompano is a gas project, whereas Lee County is oil and Alaska will be primarily oil. Does this figure into your decision to go to Alaska?
Absolutely it does. What we've told the market from day one is that we are opportunistic, and it's not a question of lack of focus. We are still very focused on Pompano. Pompano is a producing asset, but it is a gas asset in a gas-prone environment, and we have some world-class properties that surround Pompano that if gas were $10 or $12, $8, we would be making active plans to drill. But right now is not the time to be drilling those kinds of opportunities. And so what we've been busy doing for the last 6 months is scouring the planet for what is a good opportunistic fit that has a dominance of oil associated with it, or some set of special circumstances that make it work even in poor gas market times.
While we're talking about Alaska, are you going to Alaska as a wildcatter?
Actually, Alaska is exactly the footprint that we've used from day one. We are not going into big exploration areas. We're going into areas that already have drilled, proven reserves around, where there's a known footprint, where we can chase stack pays, where we can go after things that are, by definition, low risk.
Mm-hmm. And this is an area where the majors have worked for years.
It is. A number of people in personal conversation with me have said, wow, it sounds like 1.2 T's of gas, 149 million barrels of oil. That's a world-class opportunity. It's a company-making size opportunity, but Alaska? And what you have to say is, well, you don't know the whole story about Alaska. A number of key things have changed just in the last 18 to 24 months in Alaska.
We've seen the Alaska pipeline go from 2 million barrels a day down to 700,000 barrels a day. And we know that 90% of the state government revenues come from oil. What is Alaska going to do about this decline?
The state has recognized that. The state's very proactively moved in, and they've seen that what has happened in the lower 48, where the majors moved out of land production operations, and in the shallow water Gulf, where they moved out of those areas, is now going to happen at some point in Alaska. They're not moving out yet, but they've cut back on their investment in Alaska, and so the state's trying to encourage people to invest more money in oil and gas there.
It really does leave opportunity for smaller, more nimble companies like Buccaneer to come in and grab those left-behind projects.
Absolutely. It is an exact replay of when they moved out of land-based lower 48 operations, when they moved out of shallow water operations. You had a number of smaller independents that came in behind them and went from being small independents to being major independents.
Well, and the state government is putting their money where their mouth is, aren't they?
That's true. They've just passed some laws. One of them is the ACES program. It's been in effect for some time now. But what ACES does is it takes a company like Buccaneer, and you can get up to 65 cents of every dollar that you spend back in the form of rebates. And those are cash rebates. They're not tax rebates. They're cash rebates. So that does a couple of things. It dramatically lowers the cost of development, but it also dramatically lowers the risk profile.
You're listening to our interview with Curtis Burton, Buccaneer Energy, and we'll be right back with more.